So one of the things, I think Sudevi has already covered this in the Ahara. So you have the guna of the herb, it's heating or cooling or it's drying and so on. And the karma of the herb depends on the guna. So if ginger, is heating, then it'll help kapha and vata person. And the karma also affects the dosha. But prabhava is an action which is independent, it's mystifying. And I think Sudevi has been discussing it. And prabhava is independent of what the guna is. For example, if haritaki, I'm just going to write that down, is an Ayurvedic herb, it's a rasayana. That means it's a tonic. Now, the guna of haritaki is extremely drying. And dry things would normally harm a vata person. But guess what? Haritaki is the best herb for vata person. It is vata anuloma and it is vata shamana. And can anybody tell me what vata anuloma means? Anuloma brings the vata down. So even though it is the most drying herb, it is the best for vata. Thank you. So this is a prabhava. It cannot be explained. It is something that is given by Mother Nature. It is given by moon, Saumya, the cooling rays of the moon, Saumya. Let's talk about Amalaki. Just to give you, and I think Aparna ji discussed it last time. Amalaki is, prabhava is not an exception. Prabhava is very important. Everything is a prabhav irrespective of its, for example, if something, honey, for example, is another example. Honey is heating. We've been having all these, honey is heating, right? So it should be great for, honey is sweet, but it should be cooling because sweet things are usually cooling, but instead it's heating and cannot really give a lot of that to a pitta person because it will also dry them out. Now let's talk about Amalaki. Amalaki is gooseberry. Has anyone had gooseberry? This is Indian gooseberry. And the pradhana rasa. Pradhana means dominant rasa. Dominant rasa, pradhana rasa is sour. Are sour things good for pitta or not? But Amalaki is pitta shaman. It is the best pitta shaman. It is the best herb for pitta person because of its prabhava that cannot be explained. It cannot be explained. It's given by, it's a divine thing. Not every herb is like that. I'm specifically giving example of herbs that, kind of are mystifying. So if you look at Triphala, Triphala is one part haritaki, one part amalaki. I mean, when you dry it, it's one portion of dried haritaki, one portion of dried amalaki, and one portion of dried divitaki. And it has all the taste. That is why it's tridoshic, right? So prabhava, when we are talking about some common spices that you are going to be using in your ahara module, now cardamom, we really want you to, when you're talking about cardamom, use fresh cardamom, and it loses its efficacy very, very, very quickly, and aroma. So freshly ground cardamom always best. Rita is from Kerala, and they have all these cardamom farms there, and if you're walking in one of the cardamom forests, you can smell it from miles. And we have some friends who bring cardamom from Kerala, and the whole house is permeated with the smell of these spices. You cannot imagine the stuff that is sold here. And if you go down to Kerala or Bangalore or all these places where these forests are, it is the whole house. I mean, you have to come here. So she bought me about 250 grams of cardamom, and we opened it and the whole house is smelling. The cinnamon, black pepper. You can smell black pepper in Kerala everywhere. Coconut. Yes, I was just saying black pepper. So you have, when it's coming from there, it's fresh, it's great. I mean, we grow some California red pepper and we bring it in and I try and dry it. It's not the same as the black pepper. So the cardamom that we should use should be fresh and freshly ground. And coriander, also cilantro, has similar properties. Coriander seeds, so think of this as have fresh coriander seeds in the house. So Dr. Aparna gave example of boiling the coriander and making a kashaya for infants. And Rita, you'll have to take us all to Kerala. I cannot speak Malayalam. I'm lost there. I always need and I need someone to translate. We can take Dr. Sahana with us. She learned Malayalam because she did her internship in Kerala. Yes, they do, but you go down to yes. All right. Then coriander, here we're really talking about coriander seeds, and the fresh coriander and coriander seeds will have slightly different properties. This is what we do in the herb or the dravya module. So I kind of wanted to point that out. And also when you mix these things with other things, for example, there's 3 things here. Coriander is Deepan and Pachan, and Agni Mandanashaka, okay, and it's Krimikna. And let's look at another herb, which is fennel is Deepan, Pachan, Anulom, and Shula Prashman. And let's look at cumin, again, Deepan, Pachan, Anulom. So very similar. So you can combine herbs that are kind of similar, and when you combine them together, the efficacy is increased 3 times. And another thing I wanted to point out, this particular cumin is a Shweta Jiraka, white cumin, which is the regular cumin that even Italians use. Black cumin, which is Krishna Jiraka, is a different entity. Very quickly, does anybody have the book by Sebastian Pol, Ayurvedic Medicine? I know we don't start Dravya for yes. So if you have the book, let me open it. You can actually. How many people have that book? If not, you can go to, I think, if you have the book, for every single herb, he has given the energetic and Ayurvedic action, Deepan, Pachan, Bhedaniya, Kushtagna, Vahikarana, Shukrala, or so on and so forth. So you can find the properties of Krishna Jiraka and Shweta Jiraka. I think you should have both the Krishna Jiraka. Krishna means dark. I don't yet like to use the word black for my Krishna. Krishna means dark and Shweta means white. So you should have both, and they have different properties. Okay? Hingu is a Sanskrit word. Now, Hingu, you really don't want to combine with anything because it's so strong. So the Hingu that we get from Indian store has a little bit of wheat or maida, white flour mixed in. The name of the book is Ayurvedic. I don't know if you've heard of Pakka Herbs. Yes, it's called Ayurvedic Medicine, The Principles of Traditional Practice. I can share it and show you in a minute. And one of the things that I want you to go, even though you're not going to start Dravya for a while, I know Kristen has done a little bit and so is Tina. I'm just going to share you a few things, and this is something you cannot learn in one class, so you have to be going and reading these things. How can Hingu be used? So one of the churnams, I think Tina and Kristen, you came in the last year's workshop on Ayurvedic herbs. So one churnam is called Hingavashta churnam. So people who have indigestion, so Hingu is not being used by itself here. Hingu that's used in the food is different, but Hingavashta churnam, you can get it from Indian stores, on Amazon. It's simply 8 parts of different salts and 1 part Hingu, and different 8 parts of Hingu and different parts of salt. Ashtak means 8 parts, and it's in a churnam form. And you actually cannot get a tablet. You have to put it on your tongue, like a pinch, while you're having a meal, in between meals, especially for people who get bloating and gas. So who gets bloating and gas? Everybody who's vata. I just recently had a very wonderful lady who bought her 18-year-old vata. She was fighting with me. I will not give up, salads. She just kept on fighting with me. There's no way. That's the only thing I can digest. So I said, fine, have salads, but have them in the afternoon and add Hingavashta churnam and fruit chaat powder. You can get this from Indian store. It's got dry mango, dry pomegranate. I mean, it's got a lot of things, a lot of salts. And if you add that in the raw food, and I asked her to add ghee in the dressing, so at least it'll be a little better for her to digest. Yes, I'm talking about Hingavashtak churnam, not the spice. Yeah. So, Kristen, you can also start using Hingavashtak churnam because, you know, your postpartum, that'll be fine for you, except, you know, it's a little bit heating, so you want to keep it very low as well. I'm also postpartum. Okay. So here we're talking about Hingavashtak churnam. We talked about cumin. So herein we're talking about Shveta Jiraka, because when we made this presentation, this was meant for ahara, not meant for dravya. So I want to make it clear these are two different jiras. They're two different cumins. All right, ginger. Ginger and turmeric are the same family right off the bat. So ginger and turmeric. You have white turmeric and you have yellow turmeric. We've got into buying very fresh white and yellow turmeric because it has better bioavailability and better absorption. Turmeric is one herb that has like the poorest absorption. So it is only increased. The curcumin is only comes out when you cook it in fats, and it's fat absorbent. It won't be absorbed by the body during fats, or it's absorbed less. Which reminds me, there's an article in Times that fat, they have found, there's been a study done that butter and fat is not the bad guy, sugar and refined carbs are. So maybe I'll send you guys a link. So a lot of, like, of course we know a lot of herbs, they need something to take them deeper into the tissues, and that's why we're cooking them or we are using them with ghee and so on. So turmeric is the same family. Now ginger has a very broad family. Same family as ginger. So look at the properties here. Where did ginger go? Deepan, Pachan, Rasayan, Aminashak. So look at the analgesic, reduces feelings of cold, removes piles, absorbs fluid, stops hiccups, antiemetic, destroys. So turmeric would have all of these and more, depending on how the turmeric is fresh, white, or yellow. Because this is a ginger property. Again, lekhan, scraping property, deepan, kindle, pramehan, useful in diabetes because it helps to regulate the blood sugar. Pandu, useful in anemia. Jwaragna alleviates fever, but ginger does not alleviate fever unless it's a fever that is related to respiratory disorders. And turmeric is heating. So what do you do to answer the next question? If you're taking something which is heating but you need it because you're pitta, you add something, pitta pacifying, pitta shamanam, or pitta prashamanam. One that pacifies pitta. For example, you add it with ghee or aloe vera. So it doesn't mean you cannot have it. Same thing. So here's tomorrow you can do turmeric with ghee. And for when we are giving someone who's pre-diabetic turmeric, we give them tikta ghee. Means you make a ghee which has 5 or panchatikta ghee. This is turning out to be an herb class. We have a lot of pitta people in this class. They will just go around buying herbs, and I was thinking, oh my God, there'll be so much confusion. Panchatikta means 5 bitters. So you take ghee and you add bitter things. For example, you could do neem. You could do okay. This is my formula. Neem, Sardonika, turmeric, karela, jamun, these 5 herbs cooked in ghee. But this is not a traditional panchatikta ghee, 5 bitters. Neem powder. And then the efficacy is increased a lot. Okay. So what kind of jwaragna? That's different. So again, you will learn this in the Dravya module. There's 7 or 8 different kinds of fever. This is a block 3 topic. So please remember, this is not the this is not the, usually things to do with too much mucus and so on. So what kind of fever is important? Complexion enhancer. If you go to an Indian store, let me just pause this. Properties of dry ginger, properties of fresh ginger juice, macerated ginger, and ginger paste all become different because you're changing the Pancha Maha Bhautik chemistry of the food, which is what you're doing in the module. Cinnamon, dried cinnamon bark and cinnamon boiled in water, cinnamon boiled in milk, cinnamon with honey. The efficacy is increasing and you're customizing it. Again, it's a Dravya module thing. So that's all I kind of wanted to add. And very quickly in the Sanskrit module, you have this. We haven't updated it. In fact, we are updating it right now, and we will put on the updated version in a couple of days. But in the end of this, so one of the things that you have to do is choose any sutra you like from anywhere. You can do Sharirindriya Satvatma Samyogadhari Jivatam. You could pick up something from Bhagavad Gita. You could pick up something from Patanjali Sutra. You actually record your pronunciation, and that's the test. You choose one. Ideally, you should be, doing a lot more. In India, Preeti tells me that they had to memorize entire Charak Samhita, the whole Charak Samhita. That's like 20,000 verses. We are just asking you to memorize one verse, ideally Ayurvedic, or from Patanjali Sutra, and then you will actually record it and send it to Atul, and then Atul comes back and gives you feedback. It's a Sanskrit module. Have you logged into the Sanskrit module? It's right there. So this is what Atul is doing tomorrow, and in the end of it are the glossary of Sanskrit words. Again, he's updating it. So log into the Sanskrit module and you can download the Sanskrit module from there. He's doing this tomorrow, and we were just not sure of what time we want to do it. We want to do it 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So it's 7:30 a.m. tomorrow. Sandhi and Samas. It's a very advanced class, so if you don't want to attend, it's okay, but it'll be very, very fun. I am looking forward to it.